Hello viewers, today is another episode of the Wow Lifestyle Show. We are discussing women and depression. My name is Helena. We are going for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Memory, coordination, confidence. You put more into your baby's development than you think. And now you can put more into every mealtime. Cerelac combines iron, vitamin C, and probiotics to support physical and mental development. Nestle Cerelac, now with Iron Plus. Big nutrition for small tummies.
Nivea Natural Fairness Body Lotion is making women glow with confidence. With a trusted, innovative formula containing unique berry extracts and UV protection to care for and restore the skin's natural, healthy glow. Reveal your beautiful, glowing skin with Natural Fairness Body Lotion from Nivea.
So don't forget your onions, but most importantly, choosing the right oil makes all the difference. That is why I always choose Frytol.
So what's the story behind Frytol?
At Wilma, where Frytol is made, each and every worker wakes up with you in mind.
Really?
And for the millions of other homes too. There, the experts ensure every bottle of Frytol is rich with great taste that creates memories to last their lifetime. That is why I add required amounts of Frytol to taste. Frytol is a cholesterol-free oil fortified with vitamin A.
Now I know why you cook with Frytol.
Yes, and it's the choice of cooking oil in millions of other homes.
Yes, Dad.
Enjoy great tasting meals with Frytol, a cholesterol-free cooking oil fortified with vitamin A. Frytol, love your food, love your life. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. My beautiful wake up, my makeup and nails were done by AJ Hair and Makeovers. You can find them at East Legon, Oponglo. They share the same building as EcoBank. My beautiful dress was designed by Loretta Unisex Designs. You can find them at Osu, Kokomlemle, and East Legon. Call her for all your beautiful dresses. Now, we are discussing women and depression today, and I have two wonderful guests with me. I've known them for years, and I haven't seen them for a very long time, so it's good to have them in the studio today. Dr. Isaac Newman, he's a medical doctor and a clinical
psychologist.
A clinical psychologist. Really good to have you. You have been consistent. We used to be in the same class. He would preach before lecture starts, and he hasn't stopped. Have you?
I haven't.
What was motivating you that time?
Purpose.
Hey, we didn't understand those things at that time.
Yeah.
We were just wondering, hey, these people, every day come and preach. Come and preach before the class starts. So sometimes we will just be reading our notes and ignoring the sermon. Say, forgive. All right, Mrs. Elizabeth Owusu-Bwedi. She was my senior in school, our chaplain. All right, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. She is the planning chair of Woman Emerge Network and the co-founder and executive director of Banel International. Women and depression. Doctor, let's start with you. What's depression?
Okay, I would want to say that what we are going to talk about is on mental health. It's mental health.
Mental health.
Actually, last time I went to town to interview some folks on the streets, and the person was wondering whether depression was an illness.
Okay.
And I was shocked. I was surprised. Right, so we're going to talk about mental health.
Okay.
So it's basically on your thinking, your feeling, and your behavior. That's mental health.
Is depression not under mental health?
So it's under mental health.
Are we not being too broad?
So it's on mental health. It's a mental illness.
Okay.
Depression is an illness.
Okay.
And mental health issues is on 3 dimensions. Your thinking, your emotions, and your behavior. So any thinking, any feeling, and any behavior that is affecting you is mental health. So beyond those who were lying on the streets. So now when we talk about mental health, think people lying on the streets, but any thinking, any feeling, any behavior. So generally, depression is part of a group of mental disorders we call mood disorders.
Like today, I've had mood disorders.
So
I hope that's not part of it.
So you may have, so it's basically low mood that is associated with some other symptoms. And it affects how they think and how they behave. And it usually lasts for more than 2 weeks. So all of us may have
it lasts
episodes
for
of
more than 2 weeks. So if
weeks.
it's just a day,
No,
I'm not
it's
sick.
not depression.
It's just
You may have some
my
symptoms.
moments.
You may have some symptoms that makes you feel depressed, but it doesn't mean that it's significant to be called depression.
Okay.
So we have clinical depression. That is what we're talking about.
Okay.
And that has lasts for more than 2 weeks. So low mood, severe low mood, that affects how you think and how you behave.
For a period.
For a period of 2 weeks. And there are other symptoms related to that.
Okay. What are those symptoms?
And so you have feeling of worthlessness, of hopelessness. You lose energy. You lose sleep, or you sleep too much. Eating becomes a problem. Concentration is affected. You may have physical symptoms, headache. You may withdraw from social activities. You may even have some suicidal thoughts because you really don't want to live. And it may affect your daily activities and also your relationships and work and all that. So that is what we say depression. And it should last for more than 2 weeks. And it's also different from grieving.
Grieving.
So when you're grieving, it doesn't mean you're depressed. You may be sad and all that, but it doesn't mean you're depressed, right? Because usually those who are grieving will not have the symptom of worthlessness. You don't feel worthless because someone is dead. Usually, right? So we put all that together, and when it lasts for more than 2 weeks, we say the person may have significant depression, maybe mild, moderate, or severe.
Elizabeth, I mean, you motivated this topic as well. Could you share with us, I mean, why you really think that this message should get to the public?
Okay, so for a few women that I've interacted with, and then most especially within the age group of 25, 40, 45, okay, that is where most of these signs he's talking about comes to play. You realize that aside the societal attitudes, so the person hasn't gotten married, depends on the kind of family the person is coming from, depending on the kind of support system the person has. Certain moods begin to increase in the person, begin to come up within the person in thoughts, in attitudes. And you realize that at a point, people actually don't want to be seen in public. If you have people on Facebook, you tend to realize that at some point, they are not actually active on social media. They go off. Okay, so certain things actually pop up in people. People have been married after a year, and surprisingly, I don't know why just after a year, people, when you have married and you haven't given birth, it becomes a problem. That's why I attribute it to the kind of support system you have or the kind of family you are coming from. People begin to give pressure, okay, and and if you don't have a supportive husband, it's worse. And some husbands are not supportive at all. I have a friend whose husband is actually not supportive, and she's actually thinking of divorcing.
She is thinking
of because she's taking a lot of concoctions, okay, over a period of like 3 years. She's taking and you think it's just the woman who is supposed to give birth. The woman goes through menopausal, how do you call it? Problems. And it's just a woman. You're getting flashes of heat. And when you talk, they say you nag. And you see, people, there are lots of...
I heard they're meant to go through andropause, or that's just a term.
There's something like that, but it seems women, theirs is quite early. Usually, especially in Africa, Ghana, the age is around 40, 43, 45. That is the average for women, up to about 55.
God have mercy.
And this is serious. And if you are looking at the age that I'm talking about, from 25 to 45, you are still in your youthful age, okay? And if you are going to transfer this onto people that you work with, you are going to transfer it onto a husband, you are going to transfer it onto your siblings, even your children, depending on what kind of depression you are going through, even your children. It's really serious, and we have to talk about it.
Wow. Doc, you were talking about how to test the severity of depression. But before you go on to that, I would want to understand why we always say women and depression. Is it that it's not common in men?
Actually, globally, it's about 300 million people may be suffering from depression, actually. And any of the statistics you can mention is it's lower than what is actually the situation because we hardly report. And some of these things we think it's a personal issue. It's my issue.
The rich goes to the hospital, the poor goes
it's
to
my
the
issue.
streets.
People think these are personal, but these are health issues. Depression is just like malaria or hypertension. You need some help. Otherwise, it's not going to go away, right? So, in women suffer more than men. It may be because of all the other societal changes and all the hormonal changes women have at the time of the month and all that, right? So it's higher in women. So anytime people talk about depression, they seem to point the fingers at women than men. But it's everybody goes through. Just like malaria doesn't know whether you're a woman or a man. The same way depression can't make that distinction.
And how to test severity?
Yeah, so we have this test for it. We have different types, but it's more of a paper and pencil test. And depending on what you suspect to be the cause, because there are some hormonal changes that you may have to go to the lab to go and test to find out whether they're low. Because when they're low, they're going to affect you. Okay. Right? You're going to have depression. Right? So the general thing is to do a paper and pencil test. And
what's
this test,
the paper and pencil?
So it's more. So when I say paper and pencil, it means that there are a series of questions that have been tested and tried to test for depression. Okay. So I said your thinking, your feeling, and your behavior. So the questions are in that direction. Your thinking, to assess your thinking, your feelings, and your behavior. And depending on your scores, we're able to grade whether depression is there or not, and whether it's mild, moderate, or severe.
Please, let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more.
Introducing Cerelac Biscuity, the new baby cereal from Cerelac, with a great new biscuity taste that babies absolutely love. And of course, it's fortified with iron to support babies' healthy growth, just like all the other nutritious Cerelac flavors. Cerelac, big nutrition for small tummies.
Nivea Natural Fairness Body Lotion is making women glow with confidence. With a trusted, innovative formula containing unique berry extracts and UV protection to care for and restore the skin's natural, healthy glow. Reveal your beautiful, glowing skin with Natural Fairness Body Lotion from Nivea.
So don't forget your onions, but most importantly, choosing the right oil makes all the difference. That is why I always choose Frytol.
So what's the story behind Frytol?
At Wilma, where Frytol is made, each and every worker wakes up with you in mind.
Really?
And for the millions of other homes too. There, the experts ensure every bottle of Frytol is rich with great tastes that creates memories to last their lifetime. That is why I add required amounts of Frytol to taste. Frytol is a cholesterol-free oil fortified with vitamin A.
Now I know why you cook with Frytol.
Yes, and it's the choice of cooking oil in millions of other homes.
Yes, Dad.
Enjoy great tasting meals with Frytol, a cholesterol-free cooking oil fortified with vitamin A. Frytol, love your food, love your life. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. Are you an institution or organization that needs nutrition and health education, nutritional assessments, management of diet-related diseases like high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, etc.? Call Optimum Nutrition Care Consult on 050-151-6186. We've been talking about women and depression. So back to Doctor. I think we're looking at the risk factors when we went on break.
So we have physical, psychological, social, and spirituality risk factors. The physical factors as any physical illness, chronic illness that is difficult to manage. The person may go into depression. And also any disability that, especially when stigmatization is high, person may go into depression. And we talked about pregnancy. Pregnancy is a major risk factor for depression. All the issues relating to pregnancy, after pregnancy, some people go into what we call postpartum depression. And
Why is that?
It's because of all the changes, hormonal changes in pregnancy, plus all the stresses around pregnancy. See, pregnancy is not easy.
We need a lot of pampering during that time. The men again.
I think
please
that,
advocate for us.
I think that, pregnancy is a difficult thing.
It is.
It's
Thank
a very
you for
difficult
acknowledging
thing.
that. You haven't felt it before, but at least you can understand.
I've been married for 5 years. I know it. I have 2 kids.
Hey, that's long.
Yes, and all the problems of pregnancy makes them go through certain things that even the changes they go through, there are all kinds of hormonal changes going on in there. Imagine carrying a 4 or 3 kilo baby for a long time. You know, they grow and the weight goes up. It's not easy. And all the changes with their dressing and fear about death and all the diseases and all that. And delivery is another thing. So if they don't get that social support, they go into depression. And they can go into something we call postpartum psychosis, like madness relating to pregnancy. There are some mothers who do that. Mothers who throw their babies away, some kill their babies. It's not, it can't be crime.
Baby somewhere.
Yes. They all have mental health issues around that. Anybody who is going through any stress problems, the person can go into depression. Those who are pessimists, they can also, they have increased risk of developing depression, right? And also anybody who has gone through any loss, major loss, loss of a child, loss of pregnancy, loss of a job, or some shame of a sort, the person can go into depression. Then some social issues like marital conflict and lack of support and problems and what you talked about, that dissatisfaction with sex-related issues and all that, work-related stresses and conflict at work. It's a major source of depression. Then you talked about this age with between 15 and 45. It's a critical year for everybody where you have all kinds of problems. There's something we call existential crisis. When life doesn't make sense. You know, nothing you do really works out.
Haven't you felt that way before? Or your life has been smooth?
No, it hasn't.
We went to, we all did biological science, we made it to medical school. Some of us had to stay behind, medical or suicide,
You know what? The existential crisis issue is even amongst top functioning people.
Really?
That is why you have top level functioning people committing suicide.
People have a certain perception, especially when they see you on TV, they think that you are supposed to be all comfortable and all that, and that makes people live lives that are not really them.
Yes.
So I think that we need to start advocating for some of these things so people come to reality.
Societal pressures like she talked about. And if you don't have most of the stars may not even have a stable marriage because of all the pressures. You don't even have time for home and all that. And the pressure to look like what the society wants you to look. It's
grace to continue well. So Elizabeth, you said you've interacted with some of these people. How are they handling it? Are they seeing clinical psychologists? I know we don't make use of such people lately, but
we've not had a lot of noise from that department. Okay, that they are there.
Doctor,
come.
This one is over to you.
We've not made a lot of noise. We know that when you are pregnant, you go to the gynae. When you're having malaria, you're having headache, you go to the GP. But we haven't had a lot of noise being made about the fact that, okay, if you're feeling this way, go see this particular person. When you go to Ghanaian hospitals and you tell the doctor that I have headache, do you get tired? Do you do this? Do you feel cold? Do you do this? Okay, go to the lab and come. Then they'll let you go to the lab. After lab, okay, malaria is not really showing, but let's treat it. Okay, then they'll give you, okay, so maybe you're anemic. Then they give you blood tonic. Then you take. After that, after finishing that bottle of blood tonic, you go back into that same cycle of event that is happening in your life. And you realize that you've not dealt with it. But where can we find these clinical doctors, psychological doctors? Where are they? You see, we've not made a lot of noise, but we need to see them. We need to see them. We need to hear from them. And we need to be comfortable and know that, okay, this thing that I'm going through, I am not alone. It's like normal malaria, like you said. But if we haven't had that discussion, then where do I go? I'll still sit at my home and think that, okay, maybe I'm going mad. And sit at my home and try and manage it myself. But by the time you realize, I'm already on the streets.
I agree. I agree, actually. You know, we are few. And even, you know, there are two things. The training of medical professionals does not focus more on mental health, but focuses on the physical aspect of illness more. So the typical doctor who is not too open-minded and broad in how they see illnesses, they may downplay the impact of psychological issues on physical illnesses. So you go to a typical hospital, they focus more on the physical stuff other than the experience. So even a doctor may scream at you, or a nurse may scream at you, and not know that that screaming affects that experience.
Right.
So it's our training, the training too. Now things are getting better. Right. Another thing to us to do with, we need to make, like your show, I am happy with your show. We need to make a lot of noise.
Thank you.
Because we are feeling the system. And now the government is trying to put clinical psychologists and other mental health professionals in all the hospitals. Right. And in the whole of this country, I'm not sure the psychiatrists even in the country will be up to 50. They're not even up to 50. Right. And so now it's about, worldwide, it's about 1 per 100,000 patients. 1 mental health worker per 100,000 patients.
Okay.
Worldwide.
Wow.
So it's not, even outside the country it's there, but outside they understand these things. So they when they go to the hospital, they will request to see a mental health professional.
So how bad can it be? You talked about mild, moderate, and severe. How bad can depression be?
That is when it totally isolates the person and totally immobilizes the person in terms of his or daily activities and all that. Then also when the person becomes suicidal. Because most of the suicides, about 80% of all suicide cases is related to depression. About 80, right? And also someone going through depression is about 15 to 20 times at risk of committing suicide. Right? So suicide attempt actually is not, criminalizing suicide attempt is not a wise thing. The person is not well. Heart attack is a medical emergency. Suicide attempt is also a psychological emergency.
Right.
So why criminalize one and leave the other? It's all health, but on different levels.
So are you going to advocate?
Oh, it's been there. I know now there are all kinds of talk going on about decriminalizing and all that. It's just that someone has to be able to agree and be able to. I'm not sure how far it's gone, but currently I know there are talks and our understanding is becoming better. Now I know there are some numbers put up. If you are suicidal, do this and do that.
Okay, but I mean, I was asking because of criminalizing. I mean, so that it doesn't get to that extent.
I think they've relaxed the law a bit.
They've relaxed, okay.
I think they have.
That's good to know. Welcome back. On Healthy Youth segment today, Akwesiata is asking, I heard that pawpaws are good for the eye. Can I take them every day? All right, Akwesi. So pawpaw contains some nutrients, of course. I wouldn't want to mention any big terms to confuse you, but they contain some nutrients that help protect your eyes against some diseases. Of course, some eye diseases. It protects your eyes against blurred vision and all that. You can eat pawpaws, but we usually encourage diversity. So you can add other fruits. The fact that pawpaws are good doesn't mean you eat pawpaws only a day. Try to add some oranges. You can add some apples. I'm trying not to mention foreign fruits, but look at what is around you and try diversity, and that will also be helpful for you. But yes, pawpaws are good for the eyes. Back to our conversation. I want us to look at how family, friends, our neighbors can provide some form of support for us. And should we look up to people around us for that kind of support so that we don't get depressed?
I think so. Families should be there for each other. Before, I think maybe now our family system is changing, but before we had, when I remember growing up in Kumasi, I started growing at Amekom, and before my father built his own house, we lived in a compound house. Okay, and there's a woman who actually took care of us. When my mother could go to the market, and she would leave us with this woman, and she would treat us well. Okay, and if we are going to live in that kind of, now we all have walls. You have electric fence and all that. My neighbor, I hardly see. Is only when I'm late coming out of my house that I see her. Then I'll say, hello, ma. But I hardly see her. If we are going to go out of our way to check on each other, okay, family is supposed to be a support system. So if you are going through, you lost a promotion, you are going through hard times, I mean, find somebody, a brother, your mother, your father, somebody who you'll be able to talk to. And we should have a listening ear and be there to listen to each other. You don't have to give anything. Sometimes it's just a word that you will say to the person and the person will be fine. Okay, if you have friends, be selective of your friends. It's not every friend that you should go out with or say, this person is my friend. I don't know how we even put the term friend, tag people as friends. If you have a friend who doesn't push you to do things in a good way, that person is not.
I agree.
You see, if the person is not pushing you towards your purpose, if the person is not encouraging you to do what you have to do, but when you share an idea, the person says, aha, Ghana, you think it will work? No. At least there should be somebody who will see if even what you are telling the person is nonsense. The person should be able to tell it to you in a better way. Not to massage it, no, but there should be a better way, and there should even be light in whatever stupidity you are telling the person. For everything that I would do, my husband will always say that, Elizabeth, you can do it this way. Okay, I might have the idea, but I don't know how I'll go about it. But he would help me go about it. You see, that is the support system we should have. The society should be there to support each other so that people will come out of their low moments. Because when you go into a low moment and you really don't have anybody to talk to, that is where we end up in this way.
Because there are people who will criticize and not give you a solution to the problem. If you ask them, okay, so how should I do it then? They have nothing to tell you.
At all.
But they are very good at criticizing, even when you haven't asked for the opinions. So I agree with you. We should watch the people that we try to get counsel from. Doc.
There are multiple dimensions to families and what they should do. The first is a child's upbringing. We should be able to bring them up in such a way that they can cope with challenges. And also not to make them become who we want them to become, but help them become what they were created to become. When there's that conflict between who they are and what others have made them to be, they easily go into depression. Then also, we should create a certain environment for these children to grow, to feel loved and cared for, so that if there are problems, they can be able to share it. Another main area which helps with mental health, dealing with mental health, is problem identification, case identification, right? People live in families, and the families should be the first point of call. And families should be the ones to be able to identify that this person has a problem, this person is going through stuff, this person has changed. Then look for help for that person, right? So when you see any change, most of the suicides can be prevented. Actually, 4 to 5 of all suicides can be prevented because there will be signs for about 4 to 5 people.
Small, though.
4
to 5% of
4 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Of suicides.
Okay, that sounds great.
4 out of 5 of suicide could have been prevented because they will make you know. Right? So if families are able to identify family members who are going through issues, then they refer, then support. And accessing mental health care is quite, because of the chronic nature and the specialist nature of mental health issues, it may be on the high side to manage mental health issues. So family members should be able to support. Then I think she mentioned about surrounding yourself with positive people. Everything you say to someone does something to the person. Even if they think they've forgotten or forgiven, it's buried somewhere in their unconscious. So anytime something similar comes up, it just goes back.
Thank you so much for the education. I'm sure we will have another episode on something similar that will encourage someone, that will enlighten someone. We know that people are busy, like Elizabeth said. Everyone is going about their own work. And so you may think that, I said on one of our episodes that we shouldn't rely on people to sometimes provide us with these support because everybody is busy. You tell someone your problem and they cannot be there with you every day. And you wish that once I've told this person my problem, they call to check up on me every day, but they might have forgotten, not because they don't care, but because they also probably are dealing with something they cannot tell you about, or they are too busy to also provide that support. But let's make conscious efforts to support each other and deliver ourselves from depression. Thank you for watching the Wild Lifestyle Show. My name is Helena. My beautiful makeup, my makeup and nails were done by AJ Hair and Makeovers. My beautiful dress was designed by Loretta Unisex Designs. We shoot at Aliza Hotel. Affordable luxury is what Aliza offers you. See you next week and stay healthy.